Hello everybody, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you guys about my top 5 and an honorable mention guns that I like to use in the Crucible. Did that sound weird? I haven't listened back to it yet. It probably sounded really bad. I apologize. So we're going to be going through my top 5 favorite weapons to use in the Crucible since the Shadowkeep change, because there were some weapons that I enjoyed before Shadowkeep but now are definitely better in Shadowkeep, and then there's some that I freaking couldn't do anything with and now I actually really like them. So the first one I want to talk about is a legendary pulse rifle called Last Perdition. Now, Last Perdition just feels really good. It actually reminds me a lot of Hawksaw, and Hawksaw was definitely one of my favorite weapons in Destiny history. It just felt super stable. It was rewarding. Just everything about it felt good, and that's how I feel with Last Perdition. The one that I have has a lot of range. It has a range masterwork, it has Accurize, Rampage, and yeah, it's really good. I really like mine. I like it so much. And I know that Rampage and Kill Clip and all that stuff got nerfed, but it's still nice to have the perk procced because you're still gonna kill faster than you did before, which is never a bad thing. So this is the gun that I know I can rely on. I know that I can whip it out if I'm struggling, and I can do some good stuff, kind of no matter what. I have used this gun against good people, bad people, middle people, and it's just always a good time. Now, I wouldn't say it's the most exciting gun because it's not super exciting. Exciting guns to me are Racking or Sunshot. So stuff that does cool stuff. But Last Perdition is such a good performing gun that I had to put it in here because you could just go off with it without even trying, to be honest. Now, next up, we have a hand cannon that when it first came out, I hate it. I couldn't do anything with it. And that hand cannon is Lumina. Now, Lumina, the reason why I like it is because since the changes in Shadowkeep to hand cannons, yes, that was part bad. If you used the keyboard and mouse, I think you felt that negatively a lot more. I could just be talking out my ass and you might not agree with me at all. But with mouse and keyboard, you can generally hit people from further away. So when that nerf came into hand cannons, people were used to hitting people from so far away that nerf hit and it felt huge and awful. Whereas with a controller, generally you can't hit things from as far away. So at least to me, that nerf didn't really seem to do much in terms of changing the way that I play with a hand cannon. But the other change that they did do, besides the range nerf, is they changed the animation of a ton of hand cannons. And Lumina is one that I think really did kind of blossom since that animation change, because I went from, oh my god, I can't control this, this doesn't feel sticky, this feels awful, to this is kind of crispy, which is a big difference. So Lumina, the thing that's cool about Lumina, and yes, you could just use Thorn, I understand, but Lumina is a little bit more of an engaged gameplay type, I would say. I'll explain what I mean by that because I understand that probably makes no sense. So what I mean by that is if you're using Thorn, we'll compare the two because they're basically the same. If you're using Thorn and you kill someone and you run over the green goopies, you get the damage buff and boop, there you go. With Lumina, if you kill someone and you get the white spoopies, you have to actually shoot one of your teammates to not only heal them, which is great, we're all about being supportive of other people, but you and your teammate get a damage buff. And that damage buff is freaking awesome. The damage buff is definitely very, very, very noticeable. And of course, healing people is always a good thing. So instead of just running over the green goops, you have to actually pick up the white goops and then you have to shoot a teammate and then you get the damage buff. So it's definitely not a gun that you want to use if you're feeling very lazy because you have to be a little bit more engaged with the gameplay and make sure that you're running towards the white spoopy balls to pick them up and then shooting a teammate. The one thing that you might not enjoy about Lumina is that when you hip fire, you shoot the noble rounds, which is the thing that heals your teammate and empowers both of you. So if you ever do get into a close quarter combat situation and you have noble rounds, I don't know about you, but I hip fire and I just don't do anything because I'm hip firing. And that's a friendly fire, not a shoot bad guy fire. But yeah, Lumina. Lumina feels really good. Seriously, try it out if you have not wanted to use it, whether you're on mouse and keyboard, keyboard and mouse, trackpad. Keyboard and mouse and keyboard are the same thing, but you know, controller, especially if you're on controller and you used it before and you were like, nah, this feels really bad. Try it again, because I guarantee you it feels a lot stickier, it feels more stable and easier to control. So definitely give it a try. The next gun that I would like to mention is Suros Regime. I say it like that because it upsets people. I know how to say it. Suros Regime. Suros Regime was pretty good before Shadowkeep came out. But after Shadowkeep came out, I've definitely been using a lot more. And this thing shreds. It doesn't make any sense how fast this thing shreds. So there's two modes on Suros Regime, and I like to use the one that is spinning up, not the super slow rate of fire one. I like the faster one, and it shreds people and actually has pretty good range. Auto rifles in general, I don't tend to think of them as range weapons. I like to think of them as medium weapons because that's what they are. But with Suros, you can actually hit people from pretty far away and still melt them fairly quickly. So I have been loving the hell out of Suros. When you get the catalyst, it heals you a lot more when people die. So obviously, it's always nice to get a heal. Sometimes you won't get it and you'll be like, game, why don't you want to heal me? Why'd you hate me? But when you do get the heal, it's awesome. It allows you to run a low recovery build and generally not really worry about the fact that you're running low recovery because Suros Regime will give you the heal that you so much desire. So this is an auto rifle. I don't tend to use auto rifles that often. I'm usually using a hand cannon, sniper, shotgun, or pulse rifle, if anything. But I have been really enjoying Suros. It's been a good time. It just feels like even if I'm going against people that are really, really good, Suros can hang. It might not be an S tier weapon, but it's definitely pretty up there. Because like I said, it melts people. Okay, now the next weapon, I think a lot of people already know that this gun is now good, and that is Crimson. Crimson is nuts. Of course, in my last video I uploaded, I was doing the 1v5 against people, and I decided to use Crimson because the thing with Crimson is that it doesn't feel like a hand cannon because it shoots like a pulse rifle. So if you are looking for more of that hand cannon type feel, Crimson isn't going to do that for you, but it is very stable. It's very easy to get headshots with. It feels phenomenal on a controller, which a lot of the burst weapons do tend to feel a little bit better on controller, in my opinion. And it heals you every time you kill somebody, which is amazing. So now it is just a good hand cannon. It kills very quickly and it heals you. Before, I would whip it out every now and then if I just wanted something different. But to be honest with you, before Shadowkeep, I didn't like it. And Crimson used to be my go-to weapon if I was trying to do really well, because I found that I just did really well with Crimson. But before Shadowkeep, I don't know at what point Crimson went bad for me. I don't really remember when that happened, but it was Crimson is awesome and I use it when I'm trying to sweat. And then I went to, I can't kill a freaking thing with this gun. And now it's back to this weapon is freaking awesome and it's great. It has really good range. It seems to feel like I might, again, just be talking out of my ass because I don't do tests. Fallout, please do tests. I don't do them. I rely on Fallout's tests. So it feels like Crimson has better range than a normal hand cannon. Again, might just be talking out of my ass, but it feels at least more consistent at longer ranges than a standard hand cannon. So there you go. It heals you. It's got pretty good range. It kills pretty fast. Generally just an overall really good gun, and the ornaments for it look freaking cool. So that always helps. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to Vigilance Wing. Vigilance Wing, again, is another one of those weapons that isn't particularly exciting. It doesn't do something cool, like when you kill people, there's explosions, or you can't switch it from an auto rifle to then be basically a shotgun. It's not a 3-burst hand cannon, but it's just a really reliable gun. And The one thing that it does do that is negative, probably bad, is that it makes you wish that your teammates would hurry up and die so that you get healed. So in case you don't know what Vigilance Wing does, when one of your teammates dies when you're holding Vigilance Wing, you will get healed because they died. So this was almost seen as the perfect Trials of Osiris weapon. Should I say Trials of the Nine? Trials of Osiris, please come back, for the love of God. But it was the perfect Trials of the Nine weapon because, of course, when you're in a situation like Trials where it's very intense, and this could also be the same for comp, it would probably be great in comp as well. But when it's very intense and every life matters, if one of your teammates dies, which is bad, don't get me wrong, it's still bad, at least you get the healing from it. So maybe you can end up coming on top because of that. Anyway, I went off on a tangent about Trials. It's not a super, well, it is a sexy gun. I was going to say it's not a super sexy gun. It is a sexy gun, but it's not a flashy gun. It just does what it does, and it does it very well. Again, because of the same reasons as last Perdition being good, hand cannons got their range kind of brought in, and Vigilance Wing does really well at range, and generally it just performs really well. It's like a old school Nokia phone. That's what it is. The kind that you play Snake on, it's like that. Not so flashy, but you could throw it in a river and have a dinosaur step on it and it would still work. So, yes. That analogy makes sense, I promise. Now for my honorable mention, I want to give a shout out to Blasphemer, which is the new primary slug shotgun that came with Shadowkeep. And the reason that I've been really enjoying this is because normally if I'd want to use a primary slug shotgun, because that is my shotgun of choice, I really enjoy playing using them. They're just, again, a little bit more of an engagement kind of play style. You're engaged with it. You don't just have to shoot them in the chest. You actually have to think about how you approach encounters. Anyway, if I wanted to use something like Sunshot, right? Sunshot got a buff. It's a really fun gun to use. Explosions are freaking cool. But if I wanted to use that, I would have to run Chaperone, which obviously you can't do. So if I wanted to run Sunshot and a shotgun, I would have to not use a slug shotgun. So having Blasphemer come out has been really, really cool because I can run whatever the hell I want, whether it's an energy primary weapon or a primary weapon. God, that's confusing. Or a kinetic primary weapon. I can still use a slug shotgun no matter what. And the one that I got has snapshot, swashbuckler, and it's got a bunch of perks that makes it shoot faster. Generally, I like perks that just make slug shotgun shoot faster, especially when I'm running swashbuckler. So I can use my Blasphemer, and I can run Sunshot, and I can run a slug shotgun. I can run Graviton Lance, and I can run a slug shotgun. There's a lot of really cool guns that are in the energy. I could use Hard Light. Everyone loves Hard Light, right? It's actually not that bad. It seems bad, but it's actually not that bad. So that is why I wanted to give a shout out to Blasphemer, because it definitely does fill that gap that I had kind of been missing when it comes to slug shotguns. So if you have not tried out slug shotguns yet and you've just stuck with kind of basic shotguns, I really do recommend giving them a try. They take a little bit to get used to, but they just feel super rewarding, especially if you're using swashbuckler. Because if you're using swashbuckler, a lot of the time, if someone's in close quarters, it's actually totally fine to go to a body shot and a melee, because when you get that melee, you get full stacks of swashbuckler, and then you can just keep going off and killing everybody. Because then you can just hit one-shot body shots from really far away, because that's what swashbuckler does on slug shotguns. Anyway, I'm not gonna just keep talking about that perk. But yes, Blasphemer is my honorable mention of guns that I've really been liking in the sandbox since Shadowkeep. So that pretty much covers it. There is one gun that is my absolute favorite gun that I will make a separate video on. It deserves its own video. And yeah, that's about it. I would love to know which guns you all have been really enjoying since Shadowkeep. Let me know in the comment section if there's any gun that you didn't really use before, or you thought it was bad before, and now you're actually really enjoying it. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you awesome people later. Bye.